Hey friends, coming to you live from my tiny little 3 foot by 8 foot deck, but it's beautiful out. One of my favorite metaphors of faith that's really helped me move my faith from being just religion to really relationship is think about it like a house. You know, that if you're exploring your faith at all in God, you may kind of let him on your front porch and he might be knocking on your door. I believe he's always pursuing people because he wants them to know how much he loves them. But, so he might be out on your front door, and then if you really decide to let him into your life, decide to kind of center your life around who God is, who Jesus is, then you might open the door, let him into your entryway, right? Where, you talk a little bit to people in your entryway, but, you don't get very deep, and you kind of assume that they're going to leave pretty quickly. So, our faith can kind of start like that. And then kind of maybe over time, as you're getting to know someone, you might let them kind of into the living room where you can kind of sit and have a conversation. So maybe your faith's kind of grown to that. Then as you get kind of closer with people, then they come into your kitchen, right? And you might even be like cooking now while you talk to them and doing your stuff. You're letting them more and more into your life. And then we might let them see the rest of our house, let them see our bedroom. Then, if you're really comfortable with someone, then you might let them see the garage, if your garage is the messy place or not. You almost never let someone see your closet or your attic, because that's where you really hide the mess. And sometimes we do that with God. It's like, I'm not letting you into these parts of my life, only these parts. But that's actually not how our relationship with God is meant to be. And honestly, if you feel like, hey, this whole faith thing, church thing, Christian thing just isn't what I thought, what it's cracked up to be, it's been disappointing to me, this could be the reason why, is that you haven't let him into your whole house yet. I'm talking about Jesus this week and how he's so misunderstood, and how what we picture with him, and not make him in our own image, but picture who he actually was, get to know that can really change everything for us. And so today I want you to know he's not just Sunday school Jesus. He's not just on the flannel graph and just meant for children's church, just meant for when I'm at church, like that religious compartment of my life, that 1 hour a week on Sunday, it's covered, I got it. That's not where he's meant. And so many people just leave him there kind of their whole life, and then they wonder why he hasn't made that big of a difference in the rest of their life. But we didn't let him into the rest of the house. We're meant to have a holistic faith. That word's used a lot around where I live. People talk about holistic health, holistic yoga, all these kind of things. And it's absolutely describes what it's meant to be, which is a holistic faith. That's why he says things like, I want you to lose yourself, who you used to be, and you'll find yourself, find your new self when you come to me. That's why the Bible talks about that we're whole new creations when we come to him. That's why Jesus never said, by the way, hey, come join my religion. Come follow my rules. And I got to talk over the airplane now because of where I live. But instead, he said, come follow me. Come do life my way. Maybe you've heard that phrase, born again. And I know sometimes it's become kind of a churchy thing. Sometimes people kind of picture sweaty preachers or something with that. But it comes out of this beautiful story with Jesus and a guy who was trying to figure out his faith. And, when you think about, really the idea of born again is saying, hey, I don't just want to throw at you a few religious rules, give you something to do for an hour on a Sunday. I want to help you be kind of reborn into this new, better version of yourself, experience this new life. And the other thing that gets misunderstood is, follow Jesus with your whole heart. We think about heart, usually when the idea of loving someone with our heart is used, we hear it in romantic movies or kind of love songs, and think about the idea kind of emotion, kind of sappy emotion. But when the word heart was used in the Bible, it was really about your whole thoughts, your whole feelings, all your desires and goals and purposes, things you want to do in your life. All that is in the idea of just heart. So when we talk about, following God, following Jesus with our heart, it's really about just being all in with everything. And if you think about the closest relationships in your life, either a best friend, maybe you have a lifelong friend, maybe you have a spouse, you don't just try to keep an arm's length. I'm not sharing that part of my life with you. You only get this part. We do that with acquaintances. But with the people that are closest in our lives, right? You want to let them into every area of your life. You'll talk about anything with them. You'll tell them things you wouldn't tell anybody else. You'll entrust things to them you wouldn't entrust anybody else. And that's what Jesus meant to be like. That's why he doesn't talk about religion. He talks about, I call you friends. because he wants to be the closest friend at that level. And you can see it throughout his life. I've been encouraging you all week, read the stories of his life, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And one thing you'll notice is he actually speaks about every area of life, not just the religious area of our life. He speaks about money, speaks about marriage, speaks about the government, speaks about anxiety, about health, about fear. He speaks to all different kinds of people about all different kinds of areas of their lives. And maybe part of why it's so misunderstood, why people see Christianity as so irrelevant to their life, that it only has to do with the hour that I'm sitting in a church on Sunday, which we don't even have that right now. It's that they haven't let him into the rest of their life. We don't have a holistic faith yet. Let him into the real areas of our life. So real quick, practical, here's how to do that. One, listen, pray about anything and everything. That's what Philippians 4 says. It says, if you're anxious about anything, then pray about that. Don't worry, is this too big? Is it too small? Pray about anything and everything. That starts to help you believe that he wants to hear about every area of your life and can do something about any area of your life. The other is be honest with him about anything and everything. Again, we hold stuff back from people we don't know that well, and we're totally wide open honest with our closest friends or spouses. That's how he's meant to be for you. Just be honest with him. He can take it, by the way. He can take your best and your worst. Next is ask what he wants in every area of your life. What do you want in my dating life, my sex life, my marriage life, my hobby life, my work life, my money life? Look for him to be at work in those areas. Honestly, that was one of the biggest changes for me, is rather than just think about him at church, think about him in every area of life. For instance, I love playing beach volleyball. Man, I miss it. It's one of the things I can't wait till it comes back. Just love playing. And rather than, okay, that's my break, or I just turn my brain off from God, I like to bring him with. He's probably laughing at me when I mess up. No, I bring him with. Say, hey, thanks for the health to play, the skills to play, living in a place that I can play. Be with me today. Let my attitude reflect you. Teach me while I'm there. And he does. So I invite him on that. And raising my kids, I'm like, hey, come with me when I'm playing with them at the park, and when I'm trying to navigate another temper tantrum or whatever. Just be with me in it. It's just been inviting him into kind of every area of life. So if you found yourself disillusioned or disappointed at all with faith, maybe what you actually need to do is lean in more. Invite him into the next room of your house that you haven't let him in yet, and see what he might end up doing.